Hello everyone. I submitted my thesis, finally, so I'm coming back with part 2 of Take Your Ring Off challenge. And you are curious about what's going on with IwaOi, considering what I posted yesterday on the community tab, you might be getting an idea. But not to spoil anything, let's take a look at it, shall we? As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who subscribe and watch these videos. You're keeping this channel alive and going, thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy. Goshiki had a bad feeling about this. Like, really bad. It was one thing to be given a challenge, but being forced into one was a bit too much in his opinion. Why Oikawa wanted to do something like this to his partner was beyond him. But why did he have to drag everyone along? It was stupid, unnecessary and mean. Alright then, what now? Maybe it would be easier to risk getting a secret exposed. I don't think there's anything Kanji doesn't know about. He flinched when arms wrapped around him from behind. You look down. Surprised by the straightforwardness, Goshiki sighed and leaned into Kogane's chest. Enjoying the familiar warmth of his fiancé's presence he missed so much in those long weeks they spent dealing with their, well, mostly Goshiki's issues. Sorry, I'm thinking. About? Goshiki bit his lip, unsure what to say. He could, of course, just tell Kogane about the challenge straight away and be done with it, Oikawa be damned. However, despite knowing there wasn't anything that could ruin Kogane's view of him after what happened between them, a strange chill ran through his body when he imagined Oikawa spilling the beans. Everyone had their secrets they didn't want their partners to know. Big or small, didn't matter. Those were hidden pieces of souls that were supposed to stay just that, hidden. Please forgive me. Taking a shaky breath, he took Kogane's hand in his and slowly dropped the ring into his palm. About this. He didn't need to see into Kogane's face to know he was confused and probably staring at the ring. He would be too. What's that supposed to mean? That I'm giving it back. I can see that, but why? The grip around Goshiki's waist disappeared, only to be replaced by a gentle touch on his cheeks as Kogane entered his field of vision. To talk to me? What does this mean? What's wrong? Goshiki hated this. He opened and closed his mouth on empty, unable to decide whether he should explain or apologize first, which just made Kogane's face fall more. Do, please. If something's wrong, you have to tell me. Is it because you didn't like the proposal after all? I can do a redo, it's not an issue. You deserve the best proposal there can be. No, that's not... Then is it something more serious? Worse? No, please, I'm so sorry, it was just a challenge Oikawa forced us to do. Please give it back, I don't want to be without it. I'm so sorry. For a moment, neither of them moved nor spoke. Then, Kogane let out a soft sigh and slid the ring back on Goshiki's finger, bringing it to his lips to leave a kiss on the gem. You scared me. I know, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do it, I swear, but Oikawa said he'll be spilling secrets of anyone who doesn't participate, and I got scared. Can you forgive me, please? With another sigh, Kogane pulled him under his chin, squeezing tight. You're forgiven. I think I'll have to have a word with Oikawa though. Who else is in on this? Everyone engaged or married. So, Futaguchi-san too? Yeah. Well, good it's not the other way around. I think he wouldn't recover from that. He kissed Koshiki's forehead. But please remember that no secret of yours can be so horrible to make me love you less. I'll keep that in mind. The weirdest, heavy feeling settled in Kunime's stomach. He still had the nightmare incident of their proposal in vivid memory, the chill, pain and fear gripping his heart in their clutches as if it was just yesterday when he woke up from the massive blood loss. And now he was supposed to do a similar thing again. And the worst thing is, Oikawa-san probably wasn't kidding with the secret in my case. With a heavy sigh, he sent a quick prayer to the gods and gathered himself from the couch, heading to their little office in which Kindaichi now worked. You? Yep. Do you need anything? You not freaking out? Not really. I just wanted to make sure you're taking breaks. He bit the inside of his cheek, slowly twisting the ring off of his finger. And, give you this. Kindaichi reached for the ring perhaps instinctively. It took a painful while before his face scrunched in confusion. What's that? That's our engagement ring. I know that, but why are you giving it to me when it's yours? I don't think that's how engagement rings work. He looked up, looking like a confused puppy, and Kunime's already minimal resolve to do anything with this stupid challenge broke. Yeah, they don't, I know. Then I don't think I understand. Somewhat relieved, Kunime cracked a smile and reached out to take the ring back, the familiar peace filling his mind as soon as the metal band was set where it was supposed to be. It's okay, don't worry about it. Okay. Is that some kind of tradition, or... He hummed contentedly when Kunime leaned down for a kiss, his hand curling around the fabric of Kunime's sweatshirt to tug him closer again when he pulled away. It's not. So don't worry about it, for real. It's nothing serious. Now come take a break. You've been sitting here for the last 2 hours. Kindaichi chuckled and instead pulled Kunime on his lap, immediately wrapping his arms around him to secure him in place. Kunime led him, only careful not to put too much weight on one place, since Kindaichi's leg was still far from fully healed, even several months after the crash. Who would have thought there will be a day you of all people will be against sitting? I'm not against sitting, I'm just pro you taking a break. The doctor said you should stretch that leg from time to time, remember? I am, even here. So before I get up, I want some cuddles. Since I already have you here, you know? Kunime rolled his eyes, but didn't try to get up, not even when Kindaichi nuzzled into his neck, the short stubble on his chin tickling and scratching his skin. You are so needy sometimes, you know that? But you love it. Yeah, I do. Unsurprisingly, Konoha soon found himself pacing around their living room, barely keeping his hands from tearing his hair out over the current situation. The challenge was cruel, he couldn't find a way around it. Washio perhaps didn't look like an emotional person, but Konoha knew better. There was a soft heart under the stern shell in Washio, and Konoha dreaded exposing that heart again. The worry he felt before their proposal was enough. What if he gets into a slump again and runs out like back then? If he was able to spend 4 hours walking around in rain just to give me space, I don't want to know what he would do if... Akire? He snapped out of the swirl of thoughts, a strange mix of panic and peace settling in his chest. Is everything okay? You've been pacing a lot today. Unable to stop the chuckle, Konoha quickly crossed the short distance between them and wrapped himself around his fiancée, burying his face into his shoulder. Washio wasn't far behind, almost immediately returning the embrace, and Konoha could about melt. Right, considering how messy their proposal was, 1 or 2 exposed secrets were nothing compared to the pain he could cause to his beloved. Going ahead with the challenge wasn't worth it. And besides, he didn't intend to take the ring off for any other reason than work and volleyball. It's fine. I was just thinking, you know. Something I can help with? Not really. It's not that important. He paused, a fraction of the previous nervousness returning. I guess I just have to warn you about something. Warn? Yeah. Well, I suppose I should explain first, right? The thing is, Oikawa came up with a new challenge. To take off our rings and return them. He pulled away a bit, only enough to raise his hand with the ring on it between them, while still staying in the comfort of Washio's arms. He said he will expose our secrets if we don't go ahead with it, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't want to hurt you again. A soft kiss landed on his forehead. You didn't. Of course I did. You can hide it all you want, but I know how down you were about the proposal and the things around it. He looked up as he snuggled closer, catching Washio's gaze. I'm not going to risk you running out on me again and possibly getting hurt. So I'm just going to warn you that there might be some less pleasant news coming in soon. A short silence settled between them, during which Konoha hid back in the crook of Washio's neck, his hand itching to cup his fiancée's cheek. Before he could start overthinking the long pause, a large hand cupped his cheek instead, the touch making him shiver. I'm pretty sure you are incapable of having secrets of a kind that would make me stop loving you, so I don't believe a warning is necessary. Konoha blinked a few times before snorting a short laugh. That was one hell of a sentence. He sighed softly and eased back into Washio's embrace. But thank you. It means a lot that you think that. Of course. Would you want to go with me to the store? Sure. But first, let me enjoy my hug, hm? If Kenji didn't regret his life choices before, he definitely did now. Not only because he got roped into a challenge like this, but also because of all the things he had confided in the various group chats since high school that were inevitably going to bite him in the ass now in the form of Oikawa. Oh, how he now regretted they didn't have a more completed team back in his second year. He could have wiped that smirk off of Oikawa's face back then already. Not that it would solve anything. With a heavy sigh, he twirled the ring around his finger a bit, mesmerized by the green flashes the gem threw on his t-shirt when the sun hit it just right. He was sure he would manage to explain the challenge to Aona in a way that wouldn't cause further harm to either of them, but just imagining what could happen leading to that point, he shivered at that image. Let's just get this over with so I can get to the explaining. I just hope Nobu won't get too sad. With a heart heavier than just half an hour ago, he put away the last paperwork he had to finish for work and headed to the garden door to look for Aone. It didn't take long to spot the always magnificent figure of his fiancée, and Kenji couldn't help but smile as he watched how gentle Aone was to the flowers he was just tending to. Right, teddy bear through and through. An idea forming in his head, he carefully avoided all the flower pots and bags with soil spread all over their patio and gently nudged Aone's side, earning a warm smile. Done with work? Yep, in both senses of the word. Do you need help with anything? A light kiss landed on his forehead. Not right now. You can sit down if you want. Not that I don't enjoy watching you work, but I would feel bad to not do anything. I know you are still worried about my knee, but I can do something. I don't know, water the stuff you've already planted or raking the grass a bit. It's not about that. I just want you to relax today. You've been working hard this past week. Kenji's heart fluttered, the unsaid but very much present praise in Aone's voice feeling like a balm on his scattered nerves. Determined to tear the plaster down as quickly as possible, he took Aone's dirt-covered hand in his and dropped the ring on his palm without a word. Aone stared at the ring for a while, unmoving except for his eyelids, which in his case was equal to gasping for air. Then he turned to Kenji with a raised eyebrow. I don't think that's how engagement rings are supposed to work. I know it's time we switch to wedding rings, but aren't you supposed to keep the engagement one too? Unable to stop the laugh bubbling in his throat, both amused and relieved, Kenji leaned into Aone's side and snatched the ring back. You're so innocent sometimes, you know that. But I guess I should be grateful for it. How come? It was a challenge Oikawa forced us to do, to return the ring. Aone furrowed his brow as he, perhaps instinctively, wrapped his arm around Kenji. Forced? Yeah, not much exaggeration this time. I was worried you would get sad, but as always, you ended up surprising me. He grinned and then scrunched his nose when Aone smeared soil on his cheek. Hey, what's that for? He didn't stay mad for long, the deep rumble of Aone's laugh disarming any and all negative thoughts he had. It didn't happen every day that Tendo would be happy he had to adjust the challenge because they were apart. Not as much as before Ushijima's transfer to Poland, but still apart. He didn't want to imagine Ushijima's reaction to having the ring returned. Sure, he perhaps wasn't the type to let it be seen on his face, but Tendo knew better. Ushijima was, and always had been, a sensitive soul, especially when it came to relationships with others. And once Tendo learned to read in the subtle changes in his fiancée's face and voice, he didn't miss a single sliver of uncertainty, a single beat of sadness or pain. He can still react badly though, even if I'm just going to ask. He wasn't worried about Ushijima getting angry. This wasn't something the ace would get upset about. Sadness and doubts were much worse. Well, you'll see, I guess. I can always tell him what's this about before it gets too far, no biggie. I'm sure he will understand once I tell him Oikawa is behind this. He startled a bit when his phone rang, before a wide smile spread across his face when he saw the number. Tashi, darling, you're calling early today. We had to finish practice earlier, so I thought I could call. Am I interrupting something? No, there's no one here at this hour. Rather tell me, why did you have to end earlier? Did something happen? Are you okay? I am, don't worry. But there was a blackout in the city and the coach said we can't play with the lights off. Wise man. Better to have one short practice than risk having injuries, right? Indeed. Tendo sighed contentedly as he jumped to sit on the counter, no longer surprised how much of a calming effect Ushijima's voice had on him. Truly, all he needed to hear were 3 words, and all stress as if melted from his body. Maybe do the challenge now, so he has enough time to think everything over. Seitoshi, what would you do if I returned the engagement ring to you? He didn't need to see Ushijima to know he stopped in his tracks, almost feeling the cogs turning in Ushijima's head. I don't think I follow. If we were together and I took the ring off, what would you do? I don't understand. Do you want to return it? I mean, you can send it through post, I suppose. But what would I do with it? Tendo cooed inwardly, feeling too bad to keep pressing the matter. Return it to me, of course. But why would you send it to me just for me to send it back? It's okay, Toshi. Don't worry about it. It was just a challenge. Challenge? Yeah, to give the ring back. Aikawa's idea. So don't think about it too much, okay? He wouldn't want to overheat your brain. To his relief, Ushijima in his straightforward nature seemed to accept the explanation as it was, perhaps adding it on the list of either Tendo's or Oikawa's eccentricities. But that was fine. So, wanna tell me about how your day went? Except for the blackout. I hope you have some candles at home. I do. I already lit some up. Good. Now tell me everything, Aikawa was seething. Was there a reason? He was sure Iwaizumi would say no. But that was only because he was the reason for Oikawa's bubbling anger. Or perhaps anger was the wrong word for it. He wasn't sure how to call the feelings swirling in his chest throughout the last few hours. Either way, Iwaizumi was at fault, and he was going to pay. What did start just as a challenge to see his partner's reaction soon turned sour when Oikawa saw Iwaizumi and... What's gotten into? Clenching his jaw, Oikawa threw him a scorching glare before he turned away again, ostentatiously ignoring Iwaizumi while scrolling on his phone. A heavy sigh sounded above him. Seriously, quit being dramatic and tell me what's going on. Dramatic? Nothing is going on. Why would anything be going on? I don't see any reason at all. Iwaizumi rolled his eyes, obviously getting annoyed too. But frankly, Oikawa didn't care. He wasn't the one being all weird and touchy around some random stranger, laughing at every joke like it was the funniest thing in the world. He ground his teeth against each other, trying to erase that image from his head, but it was firmly burned into his mind. He wouldn't even think it was that weird if Iwaizumi didn't deny it ever happening. That was a bit too much for Oikawa. He wasn't blind. He wasn't stupid. And he wasn't going to let Iwaizumi gaslight him into believing he made it up. Are you seriously still on about that? I told you... I know what you told me, and I don't believe that even one bit. I know what I saw, Hajime. If you did, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He leaned on the table across Oikawa. His expression hardened. I don't know what you think you saw, but I'm telling you, it's not possible. Feeling his hands starting to tremble, Oikawa jumped up, the bank of a chair hitting the floor echoing off of their walls. Yet, Oikawa didn't flinch, too occupied by the despair flooding his whole being. How dare you! How can you lie into my face like this? Toru. No! Shut up if it's not an explanation! How can you look me in the eyes after all those years and lie to me? This time, he didn't flinch ever so slightly when Iwaizumi slammed his palms into the table. How can I explain things when I have no idea what you are talking about? And even if I did, you don't let me speak half a sentence before interrupting me again. Don't turn this on me! You are the liar here! At least I'm not so obnoxious and despair for drama to make stuff up to argue about. Oikawa paused, the words hurting more than he would like to admit. That's what you think? That I'm just making stuff up for the sake of drama? Fed up, and yet feeling his throat clogging with withheld tears, he no less than tore the ring from his finger and threw it across the table with little to no care about where it ended. Fine, have drama then! With that, he turned on his heel and stormed into their spare room, slamming the door behind him. Only then he let the tears fall, accounting them to frustration, despite knowing better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Well, it turned out to be more fluffy than I expected it to be. I kinda wanted to include some drama beside IwaOi, I mean. However, the whole IwaOi thing brought me to an idea to create a sort of mini saga, let's say, that's going to be composed of these short challenges. Others will be dragged along, unfortunately for them, but it could be interesting, and I already have like the list of the short challenges I want to do for this, and throughout them we will learn, or you will learn, what happened to IwaOi. So I think that's going to be the thing that I'm going to do in the future. That said, I still have my finals ahead of me, so I'm not entirely sure how much I will be able to put out, but it's definitely going to be more than in April, because April was horrible. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!